It is my extreme pleasure to introduce Kyle Dillingham. He is an international violinist. He has represented the United States in 37 countries, and he is just phenomenal in his speaking and his singing and his violin playing. So I know you're going to enjoy him today. He's also the youngest recipient of the Oklahoma Governor Arts Award, and he's played for kings, queens, princesses, presidents. So without further ado, Mr. Dillingham.
Turn your eyes upon Jesus and look full in his wonderful face, and the things of earth will grow strangely dim in the light of his mercy and grace. Awesome. Good morning, everybody. How many skateboarders do we have today? Okay, how many fiddle players do we have? Anybody play the violin? Yeah. How many people play the violin and skateboard? Oh, yeah. Okay. That's good. We need more skateboard fiddlers out there in the world. Actually, I would like to, what's your name again? Kelly. Gosh, I don't know how come I can't remember that. Maybe it's because I didn't ask you. But you play the violin, right?
Yeah.
You do? Oh, that's crazy. Well, I need somebody who doesn't. I was going to teach somebody, but your friend doesn't play the violin. Courtney, of course. Well, Courtney, come here. Everybody, welcome Courtney. The violin, so you've never played the violin, you're sure?
Yeah.
Because I think, the violin is an important part of our culture, it's an important part of our heritage. And for most of us, I think we've all heard the violin at least, or seen the violin, but now Courtney's going to have a chance to play, well, part of the violin, how about I give you the bow? You can handle the bow, can't you?
No.
Okay, take one hand and I'll put another hand up here at the top. Now can you just be real strong? Are you pretty strong?
Sure.
Okay, ready? So I had an opportunity. I was traveling in Liberia, in the jungles of Liberia, and in fact, I didn't meet a single person that had ever heard of or seen a violin. They didn't have a word for this instrument. And it was really crazy. I gave a lot of these kids, I had lines of kids, that I set my violin in their hands and let them hear the sound of those vibrations under their chin. The violin we can take for granted because we're all familiar with it. We know what it sounds like. We know what it is. So I want to take another instrument. This is a broken violin, and maybe we can take it for granted because we think we know what it is too. It's broken, and so therefore it's no longer has any use or value. But I've come upon a big box of these broken violins several years ago, and I felt the Lord calling me to just pick one up and play on it. And as I did, I began hearing beautiful sounds that I had never heard. I've been playing the violin my whole life, and yet I was hearing sounds that I had never heard before. You see, although this violin is considered broken beyond repair, which means that its repair cost is greater than the replacement value. It means you could buy a new one cheaper than to fix this one. So it was tossed aside. But I've recovered it, and I'm going to play on it for you today. My hope is that when I play on this very broken instrument, that you will also see how, just like you and me in our brokenness, on this broken world, how in our brokenness there's still a unique beauty and a value in every single one of us on this planet, just as we are created in God's image. We may not be perfect. We have our flaws. And fortunately, we don't have to fix ourselves. We don't have to get repairs before we can be used by God. We can be used just as we are. There's a scripture, one of my favorite, I am weak, therefore I am strong. I will boast all the more of my weaknesses because Christ's power will be made full in me. I want to play on this instrument. I'll tell a quick story, though, because it's fun. I had an opportunity to play on a $16 million violin. Yeah, I was in the southern part of Taiwan at a museum. They house the world's largest fine violin collection. And I was playing on this violin. And, and I thought to myself, this is what everybody wants. Everybody wants the nicest, fastest car. They want the new iPhone. I really do want the new iPhone, I have to say. But we have our eye on the best thing that there is. And I think that can be good. We all want to strive for the highest quality in our lives. We want to live with integrity and always do our best and strive to do our best. That's not what I'm talking about. But when I was playing this $16 million violin, I thought, this is it. Sounds beautiful. This plays like butter, and just was an amazing experience. And then I started laughing to myself because I thought, you know what? No matter how hard I try, I cannot reproduce the sounds of my broken violin on that $16 million violin. And I assure you, the same is true for the inverse of that. You can't make the sounds of that $16 million violin on this broken violin. So it proves to me that one of these is not better than the other. They're just very, very different. And I would like for us to all think about this violin, think about all these smiling faces in the pews next to you, and everybody we meet and encounter in the world, that there's not one better than the other. We're just all very different. And we need to approach each person we meet not as if we already know about the violin, but that we need to know about this new person. We need to know and approach every person in a new and fresh way and get to know them. And I think that's what God's calling us to do, to just love and care enough about somebody that you want to get to know them and find out who they are, just as they are and for who they are. So as I play on this broken instrument, I hope that you'll think about this brokenness in our world and the brokenness in your own lives and ask yourselves the question, what does God see? Easy does it, this too shall pass. Live and let live, but for the grace of God. Act as if, gotta keep an open mind. Live and let live, but for the grace of God. This is a journey, not a destination. Live and let live, but for the grace of God. Just for today, let it begin with me. Live and let live, but for the grace of God. Count your blessings again and again. Live and let live, but for the grace of God. Act as if, gotta keep an open mind. Live and let live, but for the grace of God. Share your happiness and share your pain. Live and let live, but for the grace of God. Live in the now, to thine own self be true. Live and let live, but for the grace of God. Keep coming back. Keep coming back. Easy does it, you're not alone. Live and let live, but for the grace of God. Act as if, gotta keep an open mind. Live and let live, but for the grace of God. I came to believe. Live and let live, but for the grace of God. One is too many, 1,000 not enough. Live and let live, but for the grace of God. Keep coming back. Keep coming back. Please say that you'll try. Say that you'll try. First things first. Keep it simple, stupid. Live and let live, but for the grace of God. No pain, no gain. Gotta stick with the winners. Live and let live, but for the grace of God. Decisions aren't forever. More will be revealed. Live and let live, but for the grace of God. Let go of old ideas. You will be amazed. Live and let live, but for the grace of God. Keep coming back. Keep coming back. Keep coming back. Keep coming back. This is a journey, not a destination. Live and let live, but for the grace of God. Just for today, let it begin with me. Live and let live, but for the grace of God. Broken beyond repair, but what does God see? God bless you all that we may have the vision of Christ as we go forth in this day, in our week, in our lives. Thank you very, very much.
Let us bless the Lord.